Okay, now since we have an idea on how PERT chart works, okay, now we take it further to try to construct a network diagram, which is a little bit complicated from just a statement. Okay, so here now we continue with our CYS330 test 2 answers. So the part which I are now covering is question 1D. So it says draw a project network for a remediation plan from the following statement. Okay, so before I even go to the statement, notice how this question is 8 marks. It doesn't have a table which has activities and dependencies, also known as predecessors. So we need to construct that first. So how can we do this? So we need to come to you can do this on paper, but I'll be just using these particular things for the sake of the tutorial. Okay, so let me just try to put at least a bigger font. Yeah, so here we need to have a section which says activities. Okay, we need to have our activities. So these activities we can just, okay, you understand once we start. So these are our activities, and also need our predecessors. I'm not good on the spelling, so don't worry. Predecessors. Okay, predecessors simply meaning dependencies. Okay, we can just type dependencies. So now since we have these two, we can start off with our question. So if you have a statement such as this is since it's starting from here, so notice here we have our EB, then here we have, I'm not sure if it's a full colon. Okay, this symbol here, it means that our statement is done or finished. So here we are simply saying E is coming from B and C. Okay, so before we even start with this statement, we need to highlight all the letters starting with the lower one on the alphabet from this statement. So we can see that we have our A. So we go to our spreadsheet. Which one is this? Okay, so we say A. Okay, we say A. Because we can see that on our activities, we have a node A. So we identify another one. We can see that, okay, apart from A, we also have B. We are following the alphabet. So we'll go to B. So we'll say B. Now, let's continue. We can identify another one, which is C, which is coming up. So we'll say C. So there we'll say C. Then let's identify if we have D. So this is our D, which is okay. So we'll say D. Now we go to E. Let's identify our E. So we have our E. So we say E. Then now we identify our F. We can see here we have F. So we say F. Now we can identify G. This is our G. Now we can identify our H. This is our H. So we say H. Now we can identify our I. This is our I. Now we can identify our J. So this is our J. We can identify our K. This is our K. Now we can identify our L. So notice we don't have any L, so it means we are done with our activities. So this simply means that our activities are starting from A all the way to K. Now we need to come up with the dependencies, which are the predecessors. Now this is when we start following the statement. Okay, so our statement, I was saying, it starts from E and ends where there's this symbol. I'm not sure what is this. So E is coming from B, comma C. So we go where there is E. We go where there is E. Where there is our E. We are saying it's coming from B, comma C. That's what we do. As simple as that. Now we go to our next statement, which is starting at F, ending where there's this symbol. Not really sure what this symbol is. So F and G is coming from D. So we first go at F, we put D, and we go at G, we put D. That's the meaning. So we go at F and G. So F, we put D. Then on G, again we put D. That's the meaning. Now we continue with our statement. So H and I is coming from both E and F. So we go at H, we put E, comma F, and we go at I, we put E, comma F. So H, E, comma F, I, E, comma F. That's the meaning. Okay. Now we continue. Our next statement is starting at J. Then we are saying J is coming from I, comma G. Okay. So IG. So J is coming from I, comma G. Then we go to the next statement, which we are saying K is just coming from H. So we go at K and we put H. Okay. So there we put H where there is our K. Now our next statement, we are saying B is coming from A. So we go where there is B and we put A. So simply saying B is dependent on A. So B is dependent on A. Now notice A is blank, C is blank, and D is blank. So what do? We just put these dashes. We just put that dash. Why is it tripping? Okay. What's this now? Okay, I'll just leave it blank for the sake of that, but you can just indicate any dash, meaning they are blank. Now, in the previous session, we said any node which has a blank predecessor or dependence, it means it's coming from the start. Now, our goal is simple. We are simply trying to draw a project network for this remediation plan, which is 8 marks. So again, we open our eDrawMax because that's what we are using. So I'll open my eDrawMax once again. Then I'll start a blank drawing. Then on search, I'll search for PERT charts. Remember, the symbol we're using for our node is this. So I'll drag this node. Then remember, we always start from somewhere, which is the start, which is node 1. Now, once we put that, we need to identify nodes which have no dependencies or are blank. Notice A is blank, C is blank, and D is blank, meaning they are coming from the start, A, C, and D. So we need to drag 3 nodes to represent A, then C, and D, which are coming from the start, which is our node 1. So what we need to do now is just to represent these nodes so that we can start. So that's our A, this is our C, and this is our D. So I can just label them now, A, and then C, and D. So this is always the first step when it comes to PERT charts. Now let's see another one. So A we've done. So now we can see that B is coming from A. So we go there where there is our A and we put our B. So our B can come from here. So this is our A. This is now our B. So we can label it. Okay. Now once that is done, we can now see that C, we've already indicated it, even D. Now E is coming from both B and C. E is coming from both B and C. So notice that we already have C and B. So what we need to do, we need to connect these two things, just like we did in the previous video, so that we say if this B and C merges to create this node, that's where our E can come from. So our E will come from this particular node. So this becomes our E, just like that. So that becomes our E. Now, since that is done, we need to continue. So our F is coming from D, but also G is coming from D. So both E and G are coming from D. So where there's D, we are supposed to have two nodes. So let me just put it somewhere here. Okay, so here what we mean is that here we need to have a node, and there we need to have another node. So D is giving out two nodes. So that's what we do. So D is giving out two nodes. Now what nodes are those? So we are saying F is coming from D and G is coming from D. So we go back. So this is our F and this is our G, which is coming from D. Okay, now we go to H. So H is coming on EF. Again, I is coming from EF. Okay, now let's see if we have EF. So we can see that we have E. Okay, we have E and F, but they need to merge. So what we can do is that we can try to put our F there, get rid of this, merge it, because EF supposed to be merged. Now since this is merged, let me see if it's on the right position. Okay, now since E and F are merged now, based on these two statements, EF, since they are merged now, we need to have H and I from that. So we need to have two nodes from that. So this is the first node we can have from that, and this is the second node we can have from that. So EF is giving out two nodes, this node and this node. So what are the labels now, the activities? So H and I, that's our activities. So H and I. Okay, now let's follow another statement. So J is coming from IG. Now let's see, we have I and we have G, so it means this node must somehow merge with that one. So first of all, I would like to put this node on the same line as that. Okay, so here what to do, I'll say since IG is supposed to merge with the other, so this is what to do. So I and G are merging. Now since they are merging, they are coming up with a node which is J. So we need to have a node somewhere. Okay, we need to have a node somewhere which is J. So I can put it here. So notice that IG is giving out a node which is J. So I will label this node as our J. Oh, this is on the wrong side. Let me delete this. So this is our J. Yeah, J. Now we have one more node to go. So we are saying K is coming from H. Okay, K is coming from H. So this is our H. We need to have a node which is our K. So our K can be somewhere here. This is our K. Now notice that K was the last node. K was the last node on this particular project plan. So because A was our last node, it cannot make sense for our project to end like this, hanging without any finish, because you need to have a start, which is node 1, and the finish, which is the last node. So what we need to do is that we need to merge K and J, because they were the last ones. We need to merge them. Now in doing so, we need to understand that both K and J at first didn't have the normal link or the initial link. So we need to represent this line with dots. Why? Because both J and K don't have initial links, or they were not dependent on each other. That's the meaning. So this is how we do this. Now what we need to follow is the alphabet. Remember, this is node 1, meaning A will become node 2. Then we go to B. B will come node C, or node 3. We go to C. So C is already this node. So we go to D. D becomes node 4. We go to E. So where is our E? So this is our E. So E becomes node 5. So F again is this same node. So we skip. So we go to G. So G becomes our node 6, like that. Now we go to H. So H becomes our node 7. Then the last node we can see is this one, which will be 8. So this is our PERT chart diagram or project for that particular question. So once you just understand how to draw a PERT chart, it means everything will be okay. So this was the question, and it was 8 marks. So this is how it's looking now, as you can see, and we've identified everything. So my name is Asoko James, representing KMU Cybersecurity Tutorials. Thanks for watching this particular video. Make sure you also watch the coming one, because we are almost now finishing our CYS330 test 2 answers. Thank you.